think we are good. Full screen.
There we go.
Where are we at?
Oh, there you go. Now the email was sent. Let's get it.
All right. We're live. We got some people already in. Thank you guys for joining us. As usual, welcome back to Have More Than Money. I already see we got 5 viewers, 6 people watching, so maybe we'll give a couple more seconds. Just a little introduction. Jared and Jared, I'm sure you're pumped just as I am. We're going to be discussing drop shipping during quarantine. So obviously, like most people, we're kind of going with the flow, learning on the job. We've never had a global pandemic hit our businesses. But I think you guys would be surprised by the outcome. Jared?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people think that the pandemic would have, shut drop shipping stores down, or, we wouldn't be making sales. But honestly, what me and Mike have found, and honestly other of our stores and even our student stores, is that the pandemic has really increased our sales, but a lot of other things and a lot of other issues with the business have been affected. So, we're going to get into all of that here on this live. We're going to discuss, if it's too late for you to start, what's the best thing to do, and everything regarding that. So,
yeah, so I guess let's just jump into it. To answer the question, does drop shipping work during COVID-19? Jared, you kind of touched upon it. Yes, it works. I was actually just telling one of my cousins like 25 minutes ago that I almost feel a little bit guilty sometimes that our stores have taken off even better than they were doing before the pandemic hit. It sucks. A lot of people are struggling, but I think a lot of people that do e-commerce are kind of realizing like, wow, yes, some people got laid off from their jobs, which is horrible, but believe it or not, people still buy online. And, some people love buying, and what better place to buy when physical locations are closed than on an online store?
well, yeah, exactly, guys. Like, put it into perspective, the fact that almost every physical store was actually closed. So people wanted to buy these big ticket items, and they really didn't have anywhere else to buy them other than online stores. So that's typically technically what happened pretty much with the e-commerce stores during the pandemic. I can say that some of my stores absolutely blew up right when the pandemic hit. I'm not going to go into the niches of the specific stores, but I'll just say that, let's just say, pretty much when everything closed, people realized they needed to have this certain product at their home, and everybody started buying them. And that was the thing, was that the pandemic greatly increased our sales. But like we said, other issues arose from the pandemic. And, when you're going to ask me what are the issues that arose, I can honestly say that it was inventory related. So what do I mean by that? One of my stores sold over $600,000 worth of stuff between May and June. Like, I think May we did 680, and June I think we did like 500. So actually over $1 million between those 2 months, and everything was supposed to ship end of June. And when end of June came around, what happened was a lot of the stuff that was supposed to ship, we sold so much of it that there literally wasn't enough for them to ship all of our sales. So only, let's just say, 30% of our sales actually shipped, while the other 70% got pushed back, which led to so many angry customers, so many other issues. But in the end of the day, the moral of the story is not only does dropshipping work, but our sales exploded during the pandemic.
Yeah, it's something that I want to point out, and I can't speak for all e-commerce business models in this sense, but when people are buying expensive things, it's usually something that, you don't usually wake up in the morning and be like, wow, I'm just going to spend $4,000 on something today. It's usually a purchase that they've thought about for a little bit of time. And so, yes, the back orders suck, but what we really love about high ticket drop shipping is that most of the time customers really want the product. And so, yes, the back orders suck. They're going to have to wait an extra month to receive it, but most of the time they're willing to wait. You offer a customer a $100 discount, and you'd be surprised the mountains it can move. That being said, it also comes down to, from my experience this last couple of months, is transparency. with the customers, because there are times where my employee will tell a customer, oh yeah, it's definitely going to ship next week, and then next week comes around and the item doesn't ship. And when you almost lie to customers like that, and obviously it wasn't on purpose, it's just things are so unpredictable. It causes it's going to give you an angry customer. So my suggestion, and what I'm going to suggest to the members of the community, is be transparent. And I think that even goes beyond e-commerce, beyond entrepreneurship. At the end of the day, if you're transparent and you're as real as possible, no one's going to be able to hold anything against you. And that should really be the ultimate goal.
Yeah. Guys, one thing that this pandemic has really showed me is that when it comes down to e-commerce, or actually business in general, the number one important thing by far is an offer that converts and driving traffic of people that have a high percentage chance to convert. Those are the only two things that matter, guys. Finding something that people want to buy and getting the people that want to buy it to see it. Now, how am I so sure about saying this? That there's so many conversion optimizers, right? PayPal, fast shipping times, and plenty of other things as well. And don't get me wrong, we use a lot of them, but what we don't use obviously is PayPal. And as of recently, I literally even changed the shipping times on my website to literally say shipping times are affected by COVID. And it still isn't slowing down the sales. Honestly, I'm doing so many things I can to slow sales down right now. For those following, I've actually gotten a DM recently from someone who said they noticed I went from having 60K days to only 20 to 30K days. What happened? And from my perspective, I'm like, is that not good enough for you? Is that I'm glad he noticed it, because the truth is that, me and Mike are really doing this. We really are running the business. And at this moment, the last few months, my sales might have been crazy, but now I'm slowing sales down to actually catch up from all of the orders from COVID-19. I think I did over 3,000 orders in the last 3 months. And so the supplier pretty much screwed us on so many of them that it's at the point where I literally am slowing sales down just to get my business back in order. So, what I was saying again was, in the end of the day, all you need is that offer that converts. When you find something that people want to buy, you almost can't stop them from buying it. And I've seen that by literally doing things to slow down sales, and it still isn't working. The sales are still coming in so quickly. And, I'm just getting my team in order to, handle it still.
Never in a million years did I think I would ever hear any business person, let alone you, Jared, say that you want less sales. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's me and Jared say this, and it sounds so cliche, but more money, more problems. And it really raises true. The more sales that come in, naturally the law of averages, the more issues you're going to have. And so, as we said before, this pandemic is kind of making us learn on the job, which, while it's very, very frustrating in the moment, when you really put it into perspective, and you should do this with, I think everyone should do this with all problems that they have, is, there's always a positive angle that you can take from a situation. And so, yes, some of the order cancellations and the back orders and the angry customers, it's not fun dealing with that. But at the end of the day, I really think, and Jared knows, I'm the king of corny quotes. It really builds your character. And, going through that and, going through those really stressful days, it puts it into perspective. You're like, wow, I miss things being back to normal, but I mean, we're not going to complain about having all these sales, that's for sure.
Yeah. I mean, listen, Mikey, obviously you do say a lot of corny things, but there's nothing corny about the fact that when things don't go right for you in life or in business, it really does build your character. And honestly, I can truly say on behalf of myself and Mike is that the reason why, we are finding so much success is because we've gone through so much. I mean, we've gone through so much failure, so much heartache, so much expecting things to work out and it just not working out, that, finally when we connected the dots and things clicked and we finally made it happen, we were able to actually be grateful. We were able to actually, not blow it, not ruin it. Like that's the thing is, in the end of the day, things going wrong, it really does build your character. And there's a reason why almost every successful person has failed once. The reason why 9 out of 10 businesses fail is because most successful people fail more than they succeed. People, they get it wrong. 9 out of 10 businesses fail, but not 9 out of 10 businessmen, because like look at me and Mike, for instance, we might have failed 4 times before we succeeded once. So that would still hold true that 80 to 90% of businesses fail, even for successful people.
Exactly, and I'm glad that you said that, Jared. You said, sometimes you can't be grateful unless you really failed. And I was actually just having this conversation with one of my friends a couple of days ago, and I remember the last time I got sick. I don't know if you guys if other people feel this way, but you get sick and you just feel like absolute shit, and you really reflect. You're like, wow, I would do anything to just feel better, and it really makes you grateful for the times where you weren't sick. And the same thing applies, and that's why I tell a lot of people you shouldn't wait for like those bad days to come to feel grateful. I think you should feel grateful every day, whether you know it or not. There's something to be grateful for, and I mean that's just the God's honest truth.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing, guys. In the end of the day, like we might have a lot of stress because of COVID, but in the end of the day, our sales are up, our business is still booming, and that in the end of the day, that's what we have to be grateful for. That's what we have to be thankful for. That we were given this ability to make a full-time living online and live the life that, we always dreamed of. Me and Mike, we went to college together, and, 2 or 3 years ago, we were in dorms or in our off-campus housing, talking about how we'd be doing the things we're doing now. So, as much as there is a lot of stress and a lot of anxiety and a lot of other issues that come with owning your own business and being the boss, it comes at a price. And, for us, we believe that is worth it every day. Being your own boss, living life on your own terms. Maybe not for everyone, but if you think that you want to be an entrepreneur, then, this is the type of stuff you have to deal with. And ultimately, I would say it's worth it every time.
Yeah, exactly. Well said, Jared. And let's tie this back into e-commerce, high-ticket dropshipping. The next thing we wanted to talk about is, can you make sales during the pandemic? And so I think we've covered, so far that yes, you can. But I just kind of want to give my own reasoning. I said a little bit before, when people are buying expensive items, they're most likely willing to wait for those expensive items. It's crazy because some customers, it's crazy, there's two different sides of the spectrum. I'll have one customer call me and, ask about their item, and, we'll tell them it got back ordered an extra month. And, they'll be like, I understand, there's worse things going on in the world. And they're telling me this on the phone, and I'm like, yes, like, thank you so much for understanding. They're like, just let me know when it ships. And then you'll have other customers, which is usually this end of the spectrum rather than the understanding ones, who act like their order on this online store is the biggest issue in the world. And, myself and my employees have gotten cursed out more than we have, in the rest of the existence of our online business these last couple of months, just because so many people really can't put it into perspective themselves. And it's like, listen, if I wish I could do something about it, if I was the manufacturer and, I could manufacture a product at the snap of my fingers and ship it to them, I would. But, so many people don't understand there are unforeseen circumstances that are going on right now. And, they give you a hassle, but at the end of the day, they still wait the back order time. So I guess that's really all that matters.
I mean, honestly, like my whole take on back orders is that customers will typically wait, I would say anything between 8 weeks or less. But the biggest issue is when the supplier doesn't deliver on the wait time that they say. That was the biggest hurdle for me, is that, I did, like I said, over $1 million in sales within a 2-month span, and everything was supposed to ship end of June. So I tell literally thousands of customers, I think we had 3,000 orders within April, May, and June. And we told every customer all these products would ship end of June, and only like 30% of them actually shipped. That's what gets people mad. It's not the actual fact of waiting. And typically without COVID, we typically would be shipping things on time. But obviously due to COVID, it really has been, impossible for us as the drop shippers to really have control over this. Like me and Mike, we straight up drop ship. We don't see any of the products. We don't handle any of the shipping. We work from our laptops, from our homes, or even at the beach. But when things don't ship, it's literally out of our control. And like I said, that's why I've gotten to the point where I've literally taken measures to even slow my sales down, because they're coming in at such a rate and our manufacturers are just not getting it out, in a timely manner to match that rate. So, if your question is, does it still work, or should you get into it? I mean, the answer is yes, because here's the thing, guys. It's never better to wait. It's always better to be in early. I promise everyone I know that had a drop shipping or e-commerce business during COVID, it was almost like a Black Friday during the springtime. Like everyone I know that had a business saw their sales go up tremendously. So you may have missed out on that opportunity, and it was an amazing opportunity. But by waiting any longer, all you're going to do is potentially miss out on more opportunities.
Yeah, that's well said, Jared. I like the Black Friday analogy because it really is. It's been things have been so crazy. But another thing that I like that you said was the manufacturer not delivering. And so while being the middleman, because that's essentially as dropshippers, that's what we are. We don't make the product, we sell it, and that's dropshipping straight from the manufacturer to the customer. There's so many benefits to doing that. The low overhead, having no overhead is the best benefit. But there are also difficulties because, any business, the most important thing is control. The more control you have, the easier it is to manage your business. And so when you drop ship, you give up some of that control. You give up a lot of that control because, like Jared said, these manufacturers will tell us, hey, the products are going to be backordered until this date. We'll be ready to ship on this date. That date comes, we're like, hey, we have all these backorder sales, like just let us know how you're going to ship them out. And the day before, they're like, oh, sorry, got pushed back an extra 2 weeks. And so, it's a much easier conversation for the manufacturer to tell us that we have to wait an extra 2 weeks. It is much harder. It's a much more difficult conversation for us to tell the customer that, especially when we already notified them about the original back order. And so, losing that control it's really tricky. I know me and Jared have both read the book, The Millionaire Fastlane by MJ DeMarco. It's one of my favorite books. I highly, highly recommend that book. And one of the main pillars of a business that it should have is control. And, I think while Jared and I have reaped some benefits from COVID, that control or lack thereof, I should say, has also hit us pretty hard.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I mean, COVID has definitely opened my eyes to, leveling up in a way, and this isn't to say that, I'm against dropshipping because, dropshipping has what's created financial freedom for me, you, and plenty of other people in our friend group. But, what COVID made me realize in regards to dropshipping is that it most certainly is not the highest level of operating business. At this point, between all of my stores, I've done over $8 million in sales. And it's like, it gets to a certain point where if you want to take it from, an $8 million, $10 million company to $100 million, you have to do some things that may not be necessarily dropshipping, like warehousing. So, if you're watching this, don't get alarmed because you definitely want to start with dropshipping. And here's the reason why, is because you will never know what sells until you test it. So if you try to warehouse a product that you don't know if it sells, then you're going to waste a lot of money on inventory. But what'll happen is if you start drop shipping, start testing, and you find things that can make you money, when you do hundreds of thousands or even millions of dollars on a certain product, you can guarantee that product will continue to sell. So, at that point, you might want to consider, a warehousing opportunity. Now, obviously, we've done all these sales and we still haven't warehoused. So by no means do you need to, don't get my words wrong. But what I am saying is that when you get to the point that we've gotten to, that's when your eyes can finally open to leveling up. And that's something that people don't consider when they start their first business, is how much you will level up mentally, physically, spiritually from, the day you have zero sales to the day you have $1 million in sales. You will not be the same person that you were when you had $0 in sales. You will be a completely different person, a wiser, smarter, and better person, a better version of yourself. And ultimately, your skill set plus the money you made and hopefully saved combined will, make you feel confident and free and, feel like you can almost take over the world in a way, So we're not really concerned as much about losing our businesses. We're just concerned about growing them. And we just know that no matter what, we will always be okay. Because, at this point, our skill set plus the resources that we've accumulated, will carry us for the rest of our lives.
And I'm glad that you mentioned that, Jared. You talked about, kind of how your mindset changes the more things that you accomplish. And like you said, when you start from zero, you don't really think as big as when you start actually accomplishing things. And that kind of ties into, what we say in our, the mindset portion of our course is a lot of times you never really achieve your, the long-term goal you set out to. So what I mean by that is, when you start setting goals for yourself, we recommend you set a short, medium, and long-term goal. By the time you hit your short and medium term goal, you start thinking to yourself, wow, like what becomes like conceivable to you as achievable kind of changes the more small tasks that you accomplish. And that's why, setting small goals is so important because, it really helps build momentum for you and almost propel you to your long-term goals. And so, just to tie that back into what Jared was saying, like, when you have your first 40, 50K month, 100K in a month doesn't seem as crazy as to when you had no sales. So, momentum is really key, and people underestimate what accomplishing small things can really do for you.
Yeah, I mean, that's what's so fascinating for us, right? Is like I said earlier in the live stream, like there was a few years ago, we dreamed about doing what we do now. And now it's like, if we did 100K in a month in any of our stores that we have together, I mean, we would be, panicking. Like we went from zero, we are two guys, me and Mike are really the definition of two people that came from, pretty much nothing and have turned it into, some big businesses online. And it gets to a certain point where your expectations increase, everything increases, everything changes. We went from being guys that literally dreamed of making, tens of thousands a month to now, tens of thousands of dollars in profit is a bad month in a way. Like that's what we went from. And that was all from drop shipping, guys. And, that leads to the next question, is it too late to start a drop shipping business? And the answer is absolutely not. Too late is procrastination, in my opinion. Like there's no such thing as too late, right? Because you should never be comparing yourself to us or anyone else. What's too late is when you find a course, you find a method, you find guys like us that are offering you mentorship, and instead of taking action, decide to wait weeks, months, years. It's not a competition with us. Compared to us, you're very late. But what you need to be in competition with is yourself, and understanding that the only time it's too late is when you should have done it a week ago and still haven't yet today. How many people do Mike and I know that have either never purchased courses or purchased a course and then 6 months later still haven't done anything? That is too late. But, as far as, is it too late now to start a new store? This analogy I've made in other videos, and I'll make it again here. When you close a relationship with a new supplier, in a lot of ways, that's the same thing as launching a new store, because you're taking a brand new product and launching an ad. And I can tell you guys that I have partners, we have students that have launched literally new suppliers and stores within the past week or two, and have honestly done over 40 or even 50,000 in sales with that supplier. Like this is not, me talking hypothetical, like, oh, I don't think it's too late. Like we literally know, not only just from our businesses that we're still growing, but from students that we've seen call new suppliers, land the deal, run the ads, and then 2 weeks later, do 30K in sales.
And I mean, if that's not proof that it's not too late, it's like, yes, like this, I know the person that Jared's talking about here. And yes, he's had this store for like 4 or 5 months, but that's still like new. When you close a supplier, like Jared said, it's as if you're starting from zero. Like you don't know what their potential is. It's like, let's say that was hypothetically the first supplier he closed. You set up the Google ads and you see what's what. And it's really, that growth potential is really insane. And I think that's a good question. Like, is it too late? People think, oh, drop shipping is oversaturated now. It's been going on for so long. Everyone tries drop shipping. And to that, I'd make 2 points. One, yes, drop shipping has become more popular the past couple of years, but in my opinion, the method of selling high ticket items is pretty fresh. I don't know. I really don't know a whole lot of other people who drop ship these high ticket items the way we do. And I think that's a great sign. And two is something that, Jared, I'm going to let you explain, because I actually saw Jared for the first time in a pretty long time this past weekend. And Jared, I don't know if you remember this conversation we had. We might have been a little tipsy at this point. But you said just about how online selling in general is in a way still in its infancy. If you want to explain that.
Yeah, guys. I mean, let me put it into perspective, right? people like Gary Vee or other, guys that are a little older and richer, they started e-commerce, in the late 90s or even early 2000s. Then you have a wave of people that started in the late 2000s slash early 2010s. Everyone I just mentioned at this point in the year 2020 is pretty much filthy rich. The ones that didn't quit, at least. Everyone that started e-commerce in the late 90s, early 2000s, early 2010s that didn't quit by now is almost certainly a very wealthy person. And with that being said, think about the internet in terms of humanity, right? The people that aren't using the internet right now are the people, let's just say 55 and above, right? But guess what? 10 years from now, 20 years from now, the people that are 55 and above will be using the internet. They will be shopping with the internet. The kids that are being born today, when they're 21 years old, will be born off the internet. So right now, maybe 3/4 of the American population or even the world population has adapted to the internet. But within 20 to 30 years from now, it won't be people adapting or not. It will just be everyone lives off the internet, So with that being said, you have another 10 years, 20 years of e-commerce being in its infancy. If you're asking yourself, is it too late? In a lot of ways, it's just, you're almost too early, because I promise that within 15 to 20 years, shopping online will be an infinite amount higher than it is right now. Like I can honestly say that just by using my common sense, just by knowing that all the people that, like I said, are old right now and not adapting, unfortunately won't be with us anymore. And all the people that fill that slot will be people that have lived off the internet for the last 20 years.
Exactly. And I love that. It just kind of got me more excited, because when I did the little segue and I said you told me this, I forgot what it was. But now that you say it again, it kind of blows my mind. Honestly, when you think about it, it's just crazy to think about. And just an example that I'm going to use is just yesterday, I was on the phone, customer called in. She's like, hey, like, I'm ready to order this product on your website. She's like, I'm 55 years old. Like, I don't know how the hell to use the internet. Can you help me can you help me place this order? And so, that happens a lot. Older people, less tech savvy people, they'll call in and they'll have me, and they'll give me the credit card information, and I close the sale. And it was mind blowing, because she said she was 55 or 56. And I'm like, that's still kind of young. Like, I would assume someone that age, is a little more tech savvy, but it really just goes to show. Think about it. She was 55 or 56. A lot of people older than her probably are in the same exact situation. And yeah, I mean, Jared and I are 22 years old. By the time we're 60, everyone younger than us and us is going to be pretty proficient in using the internet, if to say the least.
Yeah, exactly. So, think about it, guys. It's not too late to start. And like I said, the longer you wait is the only definition of too late. If this is the first time you came across our channel, or if you've been watching us for a while, stop contemplating and just go after it. Because in the other day, like I said, me and Mike have failed many times, and that led to our success. We've lost thousands of dollars, and every time we lost, every time we failed, we just never looked at it like that. We always looked at it like, wow, we learned so much. And ultimately, after all that learning, all that trial and error, it's like, first of all, there's no better thing to use your money to invest in than yourself, right? Like, even if the business fails, you can never look at it like a waste of money, because that money created wisdom, it created experience, things that are truly priceless, and things that actually lead to you succeeding. Saving that money in the bank and just watching us on YouTube or watching other YouTubers, like, I can almost assure you it will not get you anywhere. I know a lot of people that do e-commerce. I don't know a single person that succeeded off e-commerce from just YouTube videos. So, I like to tell people, you get what you pay for. And, me and Mike's mentorship is not that expensive at all compared to a lot of the programs out there. We charge $97 a month, and we give you the full rundown of what it takes to succeed. But if you're trying to get there off free information, then you can expect to get free level results. And that's a very important concept, is that you will only get pretty much what you pay for. And if you pay for nothing, then you will get nothing. And yeah, are there people that have succeeded in e-commerce from just YouTube? I'm sure. But me personally, like I said, I know a lot of people that have done e-commerce, a lot that have succeeded. And I don't know anyone that has succeeded off e-commerce without either investing in a course, investing in mentorship, or anything along those lines. I don't know anyone I've never met a single person who told me, yeah, I got here just from watching YouTube videos and taking action.
Yeah, and listen, not to say that it's impossible, but just think about, how kind of far back that you're almost putting yourself in the journey. So, Jared and I had mentors ourselves, and I actually think I see them in the chat right here. Shout out BAO. But it's just like, we fail so many times. And, in the moment, we're not proud of it. As maybe a lot of you guys know, if you've watched us before, if this is your first time watching, we lost close to 10 grand trying to dropship AliExpress products. And, while that really sucked, losing $10,000 on a failed business, like Jared said, it's always like the glass is half full. And, people hate on mindset all the time, and they say, oh, mindset won't get you anywhere. When the asterisk that they should be saying is mindset alone won't get you there. But mindset added with massive action will definitely get you there. And also not quitting, persistence, because, I had the mindset, we took the action, but if we were to quit after losing all that money trying to drop ship these crappy products, we would have failed. So when you combine those three things, and really, like I said, we learned so much from losing that money that, maybe it didn't directly apply to our high ticket game, but it definitely taught us a lot of lessons. And, that's kind of our goal with our mentees is we don't want them to fall into the same traps that we've fallen into. And, it's just another benefit of falling into a lot of traps, because there are a lot of traps out there. A lot of people take advantage of, the self-help or the entrepreneur community. And it's kind of sad because, the people who are into this, they want to get better. They want to do better for yourselves. And so when you see people trying to pitch these scam businesses, it really makes me sad because, I think Jared and I hope we come across as genuine and transparent, because that's kind of just how it is. We have nothing to hide. So when you see people taking advantage of other people's vulnerability and trying to feed them this garbage, it's sad. And so our goal is, like I said, just to make sure anyone who wants to learn from us does not get sucked into the traps that we fell into. And I think we've done a good job so far of helping guide the people who've asked for our help.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And, in the end of the day, we really do try to give, everything we can to all of our students. But of course, we do have other programs. Some offer more help than others. So obviously, feel free to look at all of our programs. But yeah, I mean, like we said, there's so much crap out there. And, me and Mike, we can sleep at night knowing that, we're 100% transparent, 100% honest with, everyone that joins our program. And, I've still yet, neither one of us have gotten a question from any of our students, that we really couldn't help in any way or couldn't answer. And at this point, between all of our years of experience, there really are no questions at the beginner level or at any level that really any of our students would reach that we wouldn't answer, because, obviously we're still dealing with stuff that we can't answer in our own businesses. But, anyone that's watching this video is, years away from catching up to us. So by the time, you might have a question for us that might be, far-fetched for you right now, hopefully by then we would have answered it. Because like I said, we're still growing our companies along with, mentoring new students.
Yeah, exactly. I think it goes a long way to say that, Jared's primary store does, insane numbers. $600,000 in sales is not normal. But the fact that he did that last month, or Jared, what did you end last month with in sales?
I mean, so it's hard because obviously, as we mentioned at the beginning of the video, one of the biggest things about the coronavirus, about COVID-19, is that products aren't shipping in a timely manner. And, what that led to was so many refunds from previous month orders. So technically I did around, like $700,000 or $800,000 in sales. Let me pull it up right now. But after refunds and cancellations, it ended up becoming only around 500,000. And I'm gonna log in right now and read you guys the exact numbers. But yeah, like I said, the biggest issue with COVID and Corona was that things weren't shipping in a timely manner. And then the shipping dates that suppliers promised us, they also didn't pull through with that as well. So we actually ended up doing, and this is actually crazy, I didn't even know this. We actually did $950,000 in sales, and we did 351,000 in returns, which led to a total sales number of 598,000 in the month.
That is actually just mind-blowing numbers hearing you say the returns, but my entire point of asking you what you ended last month with was whatever he said, 500 whatever thousand. The last 2 weeks, this kid is still calling suppliers. And same goes for me. I think I ended up with like 200 something, or maybe close to around 300, I don't remember, but I'm still closing suppliers. And I think that also goes to show how dangerous complacency can be for some people. Is, we've learned how uncertain things are right now, and probably will continue to be until this whole COVID thing is over. And so there has never been a time where complacency shouldn't be an option, and I think we're kind of learning that. However many people got laid off from their jobs when Corona first hit, and I hope people really took that as a wake-up call. Like, one, maybe my job isn't as secure as I thought it was, and two, bouncing off of that is I need to prepare myself. So if and when something like this, maybe not a pandemic, but something like this happens and kind of changes the world at the drop of a button, I'll be ready. And luckily we were ready, but I hope other people now are kind of learning that, listen, security is not what it makes out, what you think it is. And take it as you is, take it as it is. You can either get envious or say that we're bragging, but realistically our goal all the time is kind of to inspire. And again, kind of corny, I know, but maybe next time something like this happens, you'll be ready. And the only way to be ready is by just starting now. Whether maybe you don't have the money saved up to start a high ticket dropshipping business, but that does not mean that you can't learn, because learning and educating yourself is really what's most important. So that way, when the time comes when you are actually ready, you can jump right in and just start. I tweeted this the other day, and I've said it, I think, almost on every single live stream, but I'm going to say it again. My favorite Les Brown quote. Jared, do you know it or no? I know.
I do know it. I'll let you say it.
It's better to be prepared and not have an opportunity than to have an opportunity and not be prepared. And I think that's kind of self-explanatory. You should just always be ready for when the time comes when you're in a position to start your business, when there's no more excuses, that you can jump right in to the opportunity and, give it everything you have. Because if you try to half-ass any business, whether it's online, brick and mortar, if you try to half-ass it, it's not going to work. All right, and that's coming from someone who, I gave the low-ticket AliExpress dropshipping every ounce that I had. I was a senior in college during the time. I missed handfuls of parties, day drinks, spike ball tournaments, anything that you could think of. I probably missed it working on my low-ticket store, and I still failed. And so, I think that just goes to show that sometimes it's just not meant to be, but I can confidently say that I'm happy I failed in that, because, I love where I'm at right now.
I remember one time specifically, we had an event to go to back in school, and I was rushing you to go, and you had to finish editing a video for a low-ticket Facebook ad. And I remember I was like, we got to go. And you were just bugging because you were like, I need to finish this first. And I couldn't wait. So I was like, all right, I'll see you there. And, when we did low ticket, we thought every product that we were going to run an ad to was going to be the one to make us millionaires. And after 60 products, and none of them made us even a penny, and we were down $10,000, we finally decided to call it quits. And luckily, I brought you into the high ticket game. And thank God, you brought that same work ethic that you did with low ticket with a business model that actually, had, greener pastures. And here we are today. So.
Yeah, exactly. I remember that exact night too. It was so frustrating, but that's funny that you say that, Jared. We literally thought every single product, either I would say it to you or you would say it to me. You'd be like, I feel it. Like this is the product. Meanwhile, we're talking about 35. We're talking about products that we're selling for $35 that we really didn't believe in. Like, yes, we thought it was unique. You know, we spent, you know, hours thinking of this amazing ad copy. And, you know, as Jared said, I would spend the time on my video editing and this and that and making this perfect. And to put that much time into an ad that, you know, we would test for 3 days, spend 40 or $50 or whatever it was, I don't even remember, and have it just flop, it takes a toll on you. And it's kind of an indescribable toll when you repeat that process. Like Jared said, I think we tested like 60 products. It takes a toll mentally and physically. It just reaches a point where it's like, all right, I cannot do this anymore. And when you compare the two business models, like, you know, now I'm selling $2,000 American-made products to people searching in Google for these products. I'm providing 5-star customer service like 100% of the time because, you know, I think customer service is number one in any business. If you take care of your customers to the best of your ability, they'll not only come back, but they'll start spreading word of mouth. And so, yeah, just to kind of, like I said,
I think one thing about low ticket that doesn't get talked about, and why high ticket is so much better as well, is that with low ticket, it requires so much effort to test one product, where with high ticket, it doesn't require that much effort to test thousands of products. And I mean, obviously, you know, we've given so many examples in the past as to why high ticket is better. I'm not going to go into them right now, but just thinking about that one example alone, it's like, you know, for us, it's a simple process to test an entire supplier's catalog at once, hundreds and sometimes thousands of items. Where low ticket, it can take you hours upon hours just to test one item. You know, just thinking about that one statistic alone, you know, is enough to you know, drive you to the dark side.
the dark side. Is that what we're calling high ticket? The dark side?
I don't know if it's the dark side, the light side, but, you know, what I will say is that, you know, high ticket is the opportunity that only probably 1% of drop shippers are taking advantage of for whatever reason, while the other 99% are fighting over crumbs.
And listen, Jared, if there's anything me and Jared love, it's being different from everybody else. I love being the 1%. And you guys can see my Yankee sticker right here. We're the evil empire, baby. So,
well, that's the thing, guys. You know, you got to take it like, all right, making the decision to be a drop shipper, it's like, all right, you took the first step. You don't want to do a 9 to 5. You don't want to work a job. You know, that's a great first step. But, you know, the next step is, how do I become the best of the people that are being different? You know, it's like the big fish, small pond, or small fish, big pond. It's like you decided to be a drop shipper. You decided to be an online marketer. You decided a 9 to 5 wasn't for you. You know, that's the first step. Great. Good for you. But if you want to actually succeed with this, if you want to actually make a full-time living with this, then you need to be the 1% of the 1%.
Does that make you 0.5%?
I don't know. I'm not great at math.
But exactly. I mean, at the end of the day, yes, we think that, you know, usually going against the grain and going against the pack has its benefits. But I mean, like Jared said, doing drop shipping and doing e-commerce, it'll make you different. But as we've learned, and I think as a lot of people have learned, being the 1% and doing low ticket doesn't always have its advantages. And listen, I don't hate on anybody who does that, because I do know people who have made it in that business model. Like, it's not to say that, you know, nobody makes it. I know people who are successful in that. So, you know, I'm not going to try to lie to you and say, yeah, no one ever does it. But when I see the guys, you know, I'm on the motivational, the LLC Twitter, on that side of Twitter, and I see these low ticket guys, and, you know, they're giving out so much free game. And I know it's valuable knowledge because it's good stuff. But they go so into depth. They talk about, you know, the product video themselves. They're like, all right, the intro has to be this, this, and this. Then midway through, you want to add this. And then they talk about, next up is the product pages. You know, you want to add scarcity, but not too much scarcity. This, this, and this. I think you guys kind of get my point, is that there's so much that goes into it, and yet the results just don't really show most of the time. But with high ticket, it's, you know, like Jared said, you list the products, you get them in Google AdWords. Hopefully people search the product and are buying this manufacturer. And then, listen, if it doesn't work, luckily one sale can make back a lot of ad spend. You know, like, we can profit $500 to $1,000 on one sale, and so that kind of gives you a lot more room to wiggle on these ads.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously, people always ask me what's the number one, contributing factor to success for me personally, and I always say, obviously, besides all the mindset stuff and all that other crap, on a practical level, the most important contributing factor is starting a business built around high margins. I remember my mentor, who actually happens to be my cousin as well, over at Build Assets Online. We went on a Vegas trip together to go to a convention and find some suppliers, which, we had a blast. Obviously, it was pre-COVID days, but, he was one that really, opened my eyes to the fact that every time we started a business together, because obviously he's my mentor, but also partner on some stores, every time we started a business together that wasn't involved around high ticket, it didn't succeed. And I never even thought about it like that. But then when I did, take the time to think about my career as an entrepreneur and all the businesses I've been a part of, every time it was based around low ticket, it didn't work. And then guess what? One of my high ticket stores, I decided, let me add some low ticket products. And even though we started selling them a lot, one, what happened was we were spending more in ads without our profit margins going up accordingly. And two, in order to be successful with low ticket, you need to make so many sales, which becomes so much more of a headache as opposed to high ticket. You can make 50 to 100 sales in a month and make $20,000 profit. My store is making $600 sales in a month. But, even though the profit is higher than those other stores, in my opinion, it still isn't worth it. I still would prefer to keep the store on a high ticket basis only, and, no low ticket whatsoever. At this point, personally, I really don't go after any new products below $1,000 unless they have bulk side potential or upside potential. I said bulk side because today I actually made a sale. It was $400 a unit, but someone bought 50 units. Or not, it wasn't even $400 a unit. It was, I want to say like $200 a unit, something along those lines. But someone bought 50 units, so it was a huge order. That is really the only time that I would ever recommend to, try to sell products below $1,000.
Yeah, and I know we kind of briefly touched upon the Google ads, but something that I do want to add, since we're talking about COVID drop shipping, is that like I said, if someone is going through Facebook and they want to buy something, they obviously didn't give it a lot of thought. The ad appears, they click on it, they buy it, they get a message from that online store, hey, this is back ordered, our supplier, yada yada yada, it's going to be 2 months. If that was an impulse buy and you didn't give any thought to it, you're pretty likely to just be like, all right, never mind, I don't want to wait for that. So, listen, sometimes maybe they're willing to wait, but with these Google ads, like I mentioned before, it's people searching for the exact product or products that your store carries. And so just kind of thinking of it from not even a business perspective, but just like a common sense perspective, like, all right, people are searching. Obviously, everyone knows coronavirus is happening right now. People are searching, buying the products. How much more likely are they to maybe wait that 2-month time as opposed to something that, they saw and bought it on the spot, if that makes sense?
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, guys. We sell products that people need. And, let's be real. Needs versus wants, it's not even a question, right? If you need something, it doesn't compare to if you want something, right? If you need it, then you have to get it. So, that's another, beauty of the high ticket model, is that we're really selling products that people genuinely need. And ultimately, like, unless the wait time is absolutely ridiculous, they will still, they'll purchase it and be able to wait because they don't have a choice. I've had suppliers once give me like a 12-month ETA. Obviously, you're not going to get customers to wait for 12 months, but you can get customers to wait for as long as 2 to 3 months. I think anything after 3 months is pushing it, right? Like 2 months and less is usually pretty easy to get customers to wait. Anything above 2 months is pushing it. And anything above 3 months, just forget about it. Honestly, don't even, I mean, you can try, because I've had customers willing to wait, but it's a very, very low percentage. So, I know some of the people in this chat or watching this right now are our students. and, are experiencing that, that a lot of their suppliers are on back order. And, this is me telling you that, as long as the products will ship within 2 months or so, continue selling them, because you'll get a lot of customers to wait. And ultimately, that will bring in revenue, because the big box retailers like Wayfair, Walmart, and Home Depot are going to list those products as out of stock. So you won't have to compete with them. So it will be a lot easier for you to dominate the marketplace on Google Shopping and close much more sales.
Yeah, and that's a great point that you bring up, Jared. It kind of leads me to a story that I want to tell, because, one thing, another thing, I should say, not one particular thing, that we've learned throughout these last crazy couple of months is the importance of being a problem solver. If you're an entrepreneur in any field, again, online, whatever it is, being a problem solver is going to help you a lot. If something arises and you're like, oh, like this sucks, and you play the victim and you put your hands on the table and you're like, there's nothing I can do, you're going to have troubles, and, you're just not going to be as successful. And so around when COVID first hit, like March, I was having back order troubles with a supplier already. So it wasn't even coronavirus related. They just were completely out of stock. And they're like, yeah, we're not going to have any product for about 3 to 4 months. And this was a product that, I was selling a good amount of. I was like, wow, like that's probably going to hurt my sales a good amount. And so instead of, banging my hands on the table and saying, oh, like this sucks, like why me? What am I going to do? Like I'm going to lose so much money. Instead, I went out, searched Google for the exact product type that I knew was selling for this supplier, and found a different manufacturer selling very, very similar products. And so, when you've been doing this for a while, it's very easy to close suppliers. I closed 2 or 3 suppliers. I had my overseas employees list them in like 2 or 3 days. And now I was in a position where I had products exactly like the one that I was selling for the supplier in stock. So customers were calling me. They're like, hey, is this product in stock? Obviously, it was out of stock. And so I'll say, no, it's not in stock, but I have this product that's exactly the same, if you like. And surprisingly enough, I got a lot of customers to switch to this similar in-stock option. I would say more times than not, they were willing to switch. And, like I said, I think that can move mountains when you can solve problems in that kind of way and just think outside of the box. So, on top of that, like Jared said, when products go out of stock, the big box retailers like Wayfair, Home Depot, they put them out of stock on their website. So the AdWords instantly stop. And so I was now spending less money on ads because there was no competition and making more sales, which is pretty crazy in itself. I know I kind of went on there, Jared. Did that kind of make sense?
Yeah, it made perfect sense. And, one thing about out of stock that people don't even realize, this is a great story. Was one time I was, calling with one of my suppliers, and I told him specifically, I was like, I pretty much explained to him how we do business, how we're very good at, convincing customers to wait despite, lead time. And what he said to me was he actually remembered me saying that. And what happened was that their product went in stock, but instead of it being the exact product, it was the same product, but with different painting, and they gave it a different name due to marketing. But they didn't have the artwork to market the product online. So he proposed to me that we be the only dealer that sells the product, but we leave it as the old artwork. And then once we make a sale, contact the customer, tell them it's going to be the same product, but with different painting, and see if they're willing to wait. So he gave us this opportunity that he didn't give to any other dealers, just because I told him that we were good at convincing customers to wait on back orders. And what actually ended up happening was, for those 2 to 3 months that we were the only ones selling that product, yes, we did have to contact each and every customer before we shipped it to let them know they'd be getting, instead of the blue color, the red color. But it led to us making well over $10,000 extra in profit over the span of those 2 months. And it was simply from just me telling the supplier how we do business, how we deal with out of stock orders, and how we're so capable of fulfilling them, even if you guys aren't. And it led to such a big win for us. And that's my point, guys, is that if you're worried about back orders or if you're afraid of them, just know that sometimes your biggest contribution to the business could be back order sales. Sometimes that's what gets the business jump started. For me personally, my business really started with back orders. And then as the back order sales grew, so did the in-stock sales grow. So just don't be afraid, don't be upset. Don't think just because the supplier doesn't have it in stock, it's over. You won't be able to make sales. I promise everything will work out. And
I think this kind of ties into something that I was thinking about last night. I was laying in bed and kind of what popped into my head was the idea of luck. And, Jared in that situation, a normal person, I wouldn't even say a normal person, a person with a weak mindset would be like, wow, Jared, you just got so lucky that supplier did that for you. Like, wow, you're like the luckiest person in the world. And my response to that is maybe it was good fortune that the supplier offered that to Jared for his business, but it's also like it comes down to creating your own luck. And that sounds kind of cliche, and a lot of people hate that idea of creating your own luck. But you need to put yourself in a position sometimes to get that lucky break. And let's say that happened to let's say someone said, Jared, you're so lucky. Jared could turn around and say, listen, man, let's say that same thing happened to you. Like, what would have happened? And nothing happened, because if you don't have an e-commerce store, if you don't have a business, there's no opportunity to get lucky. And so that's the idea of creating your own luck, is putting yourself in a position where if something lucky happens, you'll be able to take advantage of that opportunity. And that all comes down to just taking massive action. And, the more action you take, and, everyone always says this, the harder you work, the luckier you get. And listen, it's not like there's some God up there saying, all right, if he works this high, you'll get this lucky. Again, it kind of just comes down to the law of averages, like the more you do, the more you're putting yourself in that position for something lucky to happen. I mean, listen, Jared put himself in that position. I think it's pretty fair to say, Jared, that you reap the benefits of that luck.
Yeah. And I mean, it's the same thing with COVID. Obviously, COVID was not by any means a lucky situation, but to say that, I specifically, Mike, one of our stores, the quarter before COVID, so a quarter is 3 months, right? The quarter before COVID, one of our stores did 88,000 in sales. So within the span of 3 months, we did 88,000. The next quarter, which was from February, March, and April, we did 530,000. Now, to say that me and Mike got lucky, I mean, obviously, one, I would never consider lucky the circumstance, because obviously COVID was a terrible circumstance. But two, it wasn't luck. It was just simply, we took action and just rode the waves of life. It's like, yes, it was the right place at the right time, but you can't consider it luck. You can't consider building a business, closing suppliers, failing a bunch of times, running ads, and then, finally reaping the benefits, luck. Yes, lucky things may happen when you're a successful businessman. Look at sports, for instance, right? A lot of people consider Tom Brady lucky because of all the crazy things that might have happened. He was versing the Seahawks, and Russell Wilson, the other quarterback, threw an interception on the 1 yard line. Was that lucky? Yes. But think about everything he had to do to get in that position in the first place. Any champion, to consider anyone that's a champion and their, respected field lucky, you're just undermining all of the hard work that they put in. In the end of the day, there is a formula for creating luck in your own life, and that comes with hard work.
Yeah, I love that story because, I don't know, I follow a bunch of, motivational pages on Twitter and Instagram. And I saw one the other day. It was like what people see, and it was like the top of the iceberg. It was like that much, and it was like all the work that went into it. It was like this much. And it's crazy because, people will see people who do well in their business and, who are considered successful. And the thing is that you can't see the behind the scenes stuff. You weren't there when I lost $10,000 on a business. You weren't there when I spent over hundreds of hours creating these products. Like, people don't see that failure. And, it's kind of like when you're on the outside looking in, we don't want to give the wrong idea that it's easy to become successful in high ticket. It's like, or in business in general. like we really think out of any e-commerce business model that high ticket gives you the most chance of success. But so many people don't see the hardships. And, I think for whether you're going to do an entrepreneur venture or not, you need to understand that there's more that goes into it than just what you're seeing on the surface.
Yep. So yeah, I hope we answered the question as to whether coronavirus or whether dropshipping still works. I think now is a good time to get into the questions in the live chat. So the first one is Emmanuel, who said, "How fast will I see results when I join your mentorship?" Obviously, Emmanuel, we really can't answer that question because each and every student, is different. Each and every student has a different work ethic. But what we can say is that on average, people see their first sale within 3 to 6 months. And we personally were making, over $10,000 profit within 8 to 12 months. So like I said, I really can't, we can't guarantee you will see those same results, but those are the averages.
Yeah, and I think that was also a very conservative average that he gave. He said first sale in 3 to 6 months. My first high ticket store, I made a $5,000 or $6,000 sale after 2 days of running ads. One of our students who has been working her butt off, and I know she has, made her first sale, I think, a week or two into running ads. And so, we say 3 to 6 months because we've seen stores take that long to make a sale. And so, it's kind of our way of managing expectations. But at the end of the day, it comes down to profit. Like you can make all the sales in the world, but if you're not profitable, it doesn't mean anything. And so what's kind of another reason why we love the high ticket model is that when you're selling these expensive items, one sale can cover your cost of advertising. So, you have more, there's going to be less risk when you kind of have that in the back of your mind. But yeah, man, I hope that helps kind of answer your question. Like I said, everyone's journey is different and everyone works harder and less hard than others. So it's kind of like, which side of the coin do you want to fall on?
Yeah. And that really is the thing. I'm always conservative with, how I portray results, because in the end of the day, I'd rather, make you think it's going to be worse than it is, because I don't want to be, held liable for, anything that happens in your business. Me and Mike just give guidance, mentorship, based off our experience, but everyone's business is different. I like to say that everyone's business is an anomaly. What that means is one of a kind. So yeah, in the end of the day, we can give guidance based off what we've done, off our experience, but I can't ever guarantee results for you. And I also can't ever guarantee that you will put in the work. But as long as you put in the work and listen to us, then you're giving yourself a really good chance to be successful. Beijing Ting 247. Well, first of all, patience is the key. Don't think it's an overnight game, which is obviously 100% correct. Vershawn said, yo, Vershawn's one of our success students, and I'm glad he's here.
Shout out, Sean.
Shout out, Sean. Beijing Ting 247. Due to your success with your stores, are you still handling phone support, or have you delegated those tasks to employees? It did take us a long time, but we finally have delegated those tasks to employees. Between all of our stores, we actually have over 10 employees running the day-to-day. Me and Mike just manage the stores accordingly. But yeah, we do not really handle, sometimes we do have to hop on customer calls ourselves, but for the most part, it really is outsourced. But if you're someone that's looking to get started, I will say that typically, people do not delegate those tasks to employees until they're making around $5,000 a month. So if you're watching this and you're profiting over $5,000 a month, then it's probably time for you to hire your first employee. And if you're watching this and you're not profiting over $5,000 a month, then let us help you get there, and then we'll help you hire your first employee.
Yeah, and that was a good question, Bajin Ting. But at the end of the day, the reason to start any business should be for financial freedom and time freedom. Like the whole reason me and Jared chose to be entrepreneurs was because we knew that time was our most valuable asset. Money comes and goes, but time just goes. Right, Jared?
Love that one.
Yeah, exactly. So, what's the point of starting a business that does, $500,000 in sales if you're working a job, if it's like you're working a 9 to 5. You know, if Jared handled every single task himself, he would work more than 8 hours a day. And yeah, just why outsourcing needs to be on the table at some point. You know, in the beginning phases, I'm not saying, you know, you're gonna have to work your butt off in the beginning. That goes without saying. It should feel like more than a job, you know? However hard
Yeah.
you work for another company, you know, you help make another company money, you should work 3 times as hard as that to make yourself that money.
Yeah, I like that you said that, Mike, because this is actually something I tell people is that you are not an entrepreneur until you have employees handling the company for you. Until you have it outsourced, you are not an entrepreneur, but you will become an entrepreneur once you have it outsourced. The further away removed you are from your business, the more you're an entrepreneur. If you run the business completely on your own, one, you're going to be the hardest working person, probably, out of all people. Two, what you are is self-employed. So you still have a job, but instead of working for someone else, you're working for yourself, which is obviously much better than working for anyone else, but that still isn't the highest level. The highest level is outsourcing those pesky tasks to employees, letting them handle your dirty work so you can lay by the beach and make money.
And I think there's 2 benefits to that too. It's one, your time is being freed up, you know, yes, to sit on the beach, but to also, you know, help grow the business and put more money in your pocket. And 2, just for the peace of mind, you know, when you have someone else like dealing with angry customers, like, you know, that obviously we train very well and we make sure they're well equipped to deal with these issues. Even though your business is still being affected by these negative issues, you not having to deal with it yourself just clears up your mind. Like, I really can't even explain the feeling. You know, you really can't explain it until you do it. But, you know, having that peace of mind that, you know, you don't have to know if there's a customer issue. Maybe it's happening. Maybe you'll lose a couple $100, but it's definitely better for your mental health too if you have someone else dealing with issues.
Yeah. Vershawn, the expectations are important. I'm realizing myself. Hell yeah, Vershawn, they are. Obviously, overestimate things always. It's just better than underestimating, I promise. Emmanuel, how can I generate capital to start? Honestly, as much as you probably don't want to hear this, you know, sometimes you just got to get a job and save up money so you can start your first business. If not, then your only other option is to find someone that has money that is willing to invest in you.
Yeah, and you know, it goes back to something that Jared and I have said before. The number one way to start a business without any money is to get a job. Listen, you need money to start any kind of business. But like Jared said, you either need to get a job and work for it, but also don't rule out the possibility of pursuing someone. You know, like, let's say you know someone who has money and can, you know, splurge on whatever business you're looking to start, whether it's high ticket or a different kind of business. You can pursue them, but at the end of the day, you have to show them something. You know, they have to see something in you to give you money to start a business, you know, and that really comes down to, again, preparation. You know, you should be reading books, you should be watching YouTube channels on entrepreneur business if you're really that serious about it. Because listen, I'm not going to invest in anybody who I don't believe in. You know, like, you need to show me, if I'm the one with the money and I'm going to be the one giving you my money, you need to show me why, you know, you deserve to be invested in. And yeah, Jen, I think it kind of shows.
Guys, you know, full transparency here. You know, for me, the people that invested in me, which, you know, as I mentioned, my mentors / cousins, the people over at Build Assets Online, you know, they invested in me after they saw me read numerous books that either they recommended or I found myself. And 2, they saw me build 3 different businesses with my own money when I had no money. I had less than $600 to my name. They saw me build 3 different businesses and lose all of my money numerous times. So, you know, I got people to invest in me because I showed them that why I deserve to be invested in. I started as many businesses as I could. And the biggest hurdle that we saw was my lack of money. I read almost every book I could. I pretty much did everything I could under my circumstances. And the right people saw it. The right people took a chance on me. Now, for Mike, it was a very similar situation, except I was the one that took the chance on him.
Exactly. I guess Yeah,
I'm very happy I did.
yeah. I guess I'll take that portion of it. Was I did the same thing. I started numerous businesses. Jared, I would say you had more success in your other businesses. I know you wound up selling one of your, you had like a yoga brand. How much did you sell that store for?
I sold it for a whopping $800, which obviously $800. It's funny, right? How it was a low ticket store, a yoga brand that I sold the entire company for $800, and now my high ticket stores, I make one sale and make $800.
I love it. But yeah, so like I was saying though, I tried these businesses. I failed. I was still doing all my due diligence on entrepreneurship. Jared and I, we were in college when we obviously first met, and everything that Jared learned from his cousins, he kind of would put onto me. And again, this ties back into the idea of luck. Nowadays people can say, "Oh, you're so lucky that you had Jared, to invest in you." And to them, I would just say, "Listen, we had 3 or 4 other roommates who didn't really show that much interest, and I showed the interest. I started these businesses, and listen, you can tell me that I got lucky, but at the end of the day, I know it was my action that got him to believe in me, and ultimately got me to where I am today. And so I'll obviously always be grateful to Jared, although I don't like telling it to him all the time.
I'm glad that this live will be recorded. So if I ever feel unappreciated, I'll just go back and watch that. So Logan Tabar, how helpful do you think your mentorship is for someone with an LLC ready to start? Honestly, Logan, I mean, if you watch this whole thing from start to finish, you can probably answer that question yourself. I mean, obviously, we're not going to go in and gas ourselves up, but we will say that we pretty much give you everything you need to succeed. I mean, think to yourself how helpful being able to message people that are actually doing it at any time would be. Just think that to yourself.
Yeah, I think that was pretty self-explanatory, Jared. I mean, listen, if you want to be successful in any kind of business, we always say find someone who did it and succeeded, and do exactly as they do. And so we don't hide anything from our mentees. Our community is awesome. We give it out how it is, and what you do with that information is kind of up to you. And that kind of leads us, I guess, to the next question, which is Denise, who says, as far as your mentorship, what is the real difference between Accelerator and the other mentorship options? So for the basic membership, it's exactly like I said. We give you the tools you need to succeed. When it comes to the Accelerator, it's called the Accelerator because we help accelerate the process. Like I'll go into our Accelerator clients' back end of their advertisements. I will change things myself. Whereas for regular members, while I do give them everything there is to know when it comes to the ads, unfortunately, I don't really have the time to go into every single member's back end. So that's, I guess, kind of the main difference. Jared, I don't know if you have anything to add.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to get more attention from us. We're your partner, not your mentor. So that's a big difference. And actually now we don't even offer calls anymore to the $97. We still offer the 24/7 message support, but as far as an Accelerator client, you're getting unlimited calls with us, which obviously that doesn't mean you can call us any second of every day, but you can schedule a call with us every time you feel like you need one. Like I said, as our partner, we're going to treat you with more respect. We're going to do everything we can to help you succeed, except put in the work for you. This is not an automation program by any means. It's an Accelerator program. So, as long as you put in the work, we're going to do what we can to make sure you succeed as quickly as possible. But by no means is this an automation. By no means are you going to pay us and we're going to get to work, build a site, find the product for you. But we will, do everything we can to help you succeed, as long as you put in the work.
And yeah, I'm glad you mentioned automation, because I know this is something that Jared and I have discussed. Is one, if anyone is offering any kind of e-commerce acceleration, the best thing you should do is just run the opposite direction. Because listen, if we had the time to do an automation and build someone a store that profits $5,000 or $10,000 a month, don't you think they would just do that for themselves instead of doing it for someone else? So automation in general. I mentioned before, some people are kind of scammers and they take advantage of the entrepreneur community. If someone offers automation they're going to build you a business that profits 10K a month. Do your due diligence, because it's kind of just a scary thought.
Yeah, I personally would stay away from automation. Yeah, typically, especially Shopify automation. If someone's offering it, I can pretty much guarantee it's crap. Pre-built stores. I mean, no one I know is really becoming successful with pre-built stores. So, stay away from automation. Invest in mentorship, because in the end of the day, guys, every business has a better chance of failing than succeeding. But if you get mentored, if you do the work yourself, then you will at least come out with the skill set. And a lot of the times, a business failing isn't because the skill set was flawed, but maybe because the product was flawed. So, to do our mentorship, if you don't succeed with our mentorship, I can guarantee it's pretty much because of the product, and you'll have the skill set. Now you just need to find a winning product.
Exactly. I'm glad you said skill set, because something that Jared and I always say is building high income skills. And like we said, we always learn something from our failed businesses. And there's one thing that you can guarantee, a high income skill that I guarantee you is valuable from high ticket dropshipping. It's Google ads. I think I might have pitched this idea on another live stream, but it's like, when you can show up for someone searching in a powerful search engine like Google, the possibilities are really endless. You can create any kind of product, print on demand. When you have that Google ads skill, it's a dangerous one to have. You may really never need money, have to worry about money again.
Yes. Vershawn, have you both looked into the Shopify store plans? For example, paying $29 versus $300. So Vershawn, most of our stores are already on the $300 plan. You got to do the math for your sales and see if statistically the percentages add up, if it makes sense to upgrade. And I actually, right before this live stream, was on the phone with Shopify Plus. I will be taking one of my stores to Shopify Plus within the week. That is actually $2,000 a month, and they make you pay a year upfront. So it is, it's obviously only for serious people, for the big ballers, but there are a lot of benefits to it. So if you see your company, doing over 6 figures a month, you should definitely be on the $300 a month plan. That's first of all. And second of all, you should probably consider Shopify Plus. I think once you start doing between like 50 and 70 grand a month in sales, it makes sense to move up to the second plan. Not the 300, not the 29. There's one in between. And once you start doing well over 6 figures, then it 100% makes sense to go to the $300 a month plan. But when you are first getting started, there's really no reason to be on any plan other than the $29 basic plan. Save your money. And once your sales start to increase and you see that the fee percentage gets lower per higher plan, then consider upgrading your plan. Vershawn, I would have to assume, obviously you're one of our students, you're probably ready for at least the plan in between the $29 and $300 plan, if not already the $300. Build assets online. How do I have more than money? The simple question to that is start with our ebook. That really gives you a good outline of how to have more than money. But realistically, guys, the reason why it's called what it is because life is always about more than money. And even though having a lot of money is very important, if you don't have the other aspects of your life that are important in order, then, what's the money really worth, right? If you're not healthy, you're not happy, then what is having a lot of money even good for?
Yeah, exactly. And I think, Jared said it perfectly. So many people tell us, money doesn't make you happy. We always talk about wanting to be very, very wealthy, in the future. And, the first thing everyone thinks is, why are you so greedy? Money doesn't equal happiness. And that is very true. If you think that having more money in your bank account will make you happier, you're unfortunately sadly mistaken. I think that also just kind of ties back to what I said before about time. And that's why, when your time is freed up, because you don't have to worry about money, your life is just so much better. When money's not an option, you can go out and buy whatever you want, whatever it is. It's a better life. I can go on Wednesday afternoon, I can play golf and make money. And I think, I tweeted this the other day. It was like, if you want to be happy, write down things that make you happy and do them. And for the next level happiness is do things that make you happy and make money while doing it. That's, I think, top level happiness, in my opinion.
Yeah, guys, don't be, you know, what's the word? Don't think that what you do and how you make the money have to be correlated, right? So what do I mean by that? Is for me, making me happy might be, going to the beach, playing sports, doing jujitsu, hanging out with friends. Those are the things that make me happy, right? But none of those things make me money. What makes me money are my drop shipping stores, my e-commerce businesses, my rental properties. So, don't be, I can't think of the word right now, but don't think that how you make your money and what makes you happy have to go hand in hand. It really doesn't. But what is important is that the way you make money has to not be associated with how you spend your time. So me and Mike, our e-commerce stores, the advertisements are running 24/7. That means that we can make money at any time of any day, but we don't need to be looking at the ads. We don't need to be working on the ads. We don't need to be working on the site. Most of the time when we make money, we are literally doing nothing with our e-commerce stores. We're literally just enjoying life. And that is how you want to live, guys. You really don't need to associate how you make your money with what makes you happy. You need to associate your time with what makes you happy. You just need to associate your money without your time, and then your time with what makes you happy. That's the secret. Too many people think they need to associate their money with what makes them happy, but what happens is they don't make a lot of money. And then too many people just don't even think about happiness or time, and they just work a job they're miserable at. Neither one of those are the right solution. The right solution is finding a way to make money that doesn't require you to spend your time.
Yep. Well said, Jared. Valdez Barrett. Hey guys, bought the course and mentorship yesterday. Quick Q, how do you recommend handling free shipping on large objects, say sofas or hot tubs? So, good question, Valdez. Jared and I do free shipping and no tax on most of our stores. But obviously when you're shipping these hefty products, it is kind of expensive to ship them, but you just have to really have that built into your margins. And so, as I've told numerous of our mentees, we won't accept wholesale discounts less than 20%. And I say 20% after shipping. So, you have to kind of do that math in your head. And listen, there are times where suppliers will give us margins, and after shipping, it'll be like 15%. And I'll just straight up tell them, like, listen, if you want us to really push your product and push this brand awareness, you're going to have to give us more margin. And yeah, listen, you don't lose anything from asking. And honestly, I've only done that like 4 or 5 times. And I know out of the 4 times I've done it, I've gotten yeses 3 times. So listen, at the end of the day, it's all about the margin. So it kind of comes down to doing your own due diligence on that supplier.
Yeah, Valdez. I mean, I see that you joined our mentorship yesterday or today. That question is definitely, a little bit ahead of yourself. Don't worry, it will be covered in the course. So just watch all the videos, take action, and you'll find the answers. And obviously, anything that you can't answer yourself, you can just always ask me or Mike.
Yeah, Mike.
You guys are talking about low ticket is giving me PTSD. Believe me, Mike. Even talking about it gives me PTSD as well.
I feel like, honestly, it does pain me a little bit to talk about it, but I feel like I'm doing a disservice to people who maybe are thinking about going that route. So I feel like I have to let them know. I know, Michael, you're a member also of the MTM community. And it's crazy. I would say, I don't know how many people we have in right now, but majority of them, most people compared to others, have gone down the AliExpress low ticket route. And as you can imagine, since they're in our community, have failed in that route. So listen, if you're like Mike and you're like me and you're like Jared, who done the AliExpress low ticket, thank you for watching, and at this point, welcome aboard.
Yeah. Valdez, again, can you use a generic LLC for a couple stores, or do you spin up new ones each time? The answer to that question is yes. We do use the same LLC for pretty much all the stores. There is one store that has been getting us a little bit more chargebacks than the others. So we are considering switching that to its own LLC for safety reasons. But yeah, for the most part, all of our stores are under the same LLC. So make sure you name your store, your LLC, something generic. Typically, We just name our LLCs after our name or initials. So do that. Do not name your LLC after your website. Absolutely don't do that. We never will recommend that. We never have. So, take our advice there.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of just like, listen, if you create an LLC and let's say you're doing a kitchen niche store and you name it Kitchen Plus LLC, let's say the kitchen niche doesn't work out for you and you want to pivot, it's kind of weird. Now you have an LLC based on one thing. When you have that generic LLC, it gives you, not only in terms of high ticket drop shipping, but it gives you so many different avenues of businesses that you can pursue now that you have something more generic. So,
yeah,
generic way.
Generic. Yep. CM Pat. Sorry, guys, can't find that legal information on how to do high ticket in my home country. The barrier of entry for high ticket is too high for me. Reached out to too many people. Nobody can help. Yeah, CM Pat. I'm not sure what country you're in, but yeah, we can really only advise, U.S. citizens to do this business. There are people in Canada that we have as students. There are people in the UK. There are people in Europe that I know are doing this, but unfortunately, we personally are just not qualified to really give advice in that aspect.
Yeah, and just kind of touching upon that, I had someone DM me on Twitter today saying the same exact thing, and they're like, "Listen, I'm sorry. If I could, I would join your program, but I can't. Like, what advice do you have for me?" And listen, I'll tell you, CM Pat, the same thing I told this guy who DM'd me. I was like, "Listen, some things weren't meant to happen. Maybe it wasn't high ticket, but if you're serious about entrepreneurship, and I hope you are, do your research, and find something that works in your country and pursue it." Like we've said, I think the theme of this, or one of the themes of this live stream, is action. So find something and take the action. John Stratz, what's y'all horoscope sign? My birthday is actually tomorrow, so I'm a Cancer. I don't know.
Happy birthday, Mike. Just this is me saying it now. So if I forget tomorrow, you can't get mad at me. Nah. My horoscope sign is a Virgo, but I am not really into that stuff. I don't pay any attention. I think that that stuff is kind of crap because when you read it, it seems like it applies to every person. Everyone reads it and thinks, "Oh, I'm this. Let me tell you something. I could read every single horoscope sign and find ways that I am like that for every single one." So, I don't get into that.
Another theme, I think horoscope come down to luck. Another theme with the live stream, create your own luck.
Yeah, exactly. ZYT picks. I just turned 18 with a budget of $700 US. What would you take if you were in my shoes? That does depend on a few things. If you have a job that's going to continue funneling you money, then I would honestly say maybe even consider starting with our mentorship. But if not, then I would probably say to find someone to loan you money or to get a job, continue saving. And I mean, you're only 18, man. You can work. You're only 18. So you can work for a few years, save up thousands, and then begin. For anyone in the same age as ZYT, PX, I would always tell, when you graduate high school, don't go to college. You're going to waste a lot of money. Get a job, save up money, and start building businesses immediately.
And keep saving up money and keep learning. I read the Les Brown quote, and I'm not going to say it again. Your ears might start bleeding from hearing it, but be prepared. Yes, save up money from working your job, but if I was in your shoes, and I'm not saying this because it's our YouTube channel, I would watch every single one of our past YouTube videos and learn from it. Take notes, so that way, ZYTPX, when you are ready to jump into this business or any business, you have the knowledge that you need. Think about how far ahead you'll be when you finally are able to start in a month or 2 months with all the knowledge that we give out on this channel, as opposed to not learning, not educating, and starting at that point. It's get ahead of the curve and always keep learning.
Yeah. John Stratz, I sold an item for $1,300. This person got mad at me. They found it for $400. Yeah, John, I mean, I don't know what business model you're doing, but that is not what we do. Everything we sell is pretty much for the lowest price online. If it isn't the lowest price online, then, it's typically some fake eBay seller or, anyone that's our competition. That's not going to happen. If you're practicing our business model, I don't know what business model John Stratz here is doing, but I can assure you it is not the business model that we are teaching in our program.
And that's the thing. I mean, I don't want to keep bashing on low ticket, but I'm gonna probably keep doing it. It's like when you're selling something on AliExpress, anyone can find it, with a little bit more of harder research, people can find it online for cheaper. So like, do you really want to be in a business model that there's always something out there, so there's always somewhere out there that they can get it for cheaper? Like, no.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, in order to get these wholesale discounts like we do, and I know one of the questions before mentioned it, is that barrier to entry, which is another reason we love high ticket, because there is that barrier of entry where, you can't just wake up in the morning and be like, all right, I'm going to start my high ticket drop shipping store. You do need to have an LLC. You do need to have these things lined up. So, sorry, John.
Yeah. Yep. John's next question is, using Chase Merchant Payment Tech okay? Yes, if they're accepting you, it is fine. Obviously, other merchant providers may have, larger fees, which is obviously not ideal. But yeah, I mean, if Stripe and Shopify payments banned you, then, you still have to run the business. You still have to make money. You can't let a hurdle like that stop you. So yes, it is fine. Other providers I know that come recommended are Authorize.net and Heartland Payment Processing. So, I would say shop around, John. Look at Authorize, look at Heartland, see if you can get approved, and go after it. But do not let Stripe and Shopify payments banning you, stop you. Yes, it's fine. Just like I said, don't settle on the first one. Make sure you look around at the fees and see which price is the best.
I don't know, John. Judging by these two questions, it looks like you're in the wrong business model. You're getting banned by Stripe and Shopify payments.
Yeah, John.
Come join us.
You're definitely doing some sketchy things over there. You're not going to go far being sketchy.
It's not too late to turn it around, though, John. Like I said, evil empire right here. Come join us.
Exactly. Nicholas Forza, this may be a stupid question, but what is an LLC and is it necessary? First of all, Nick, there's really no such thing as a stupid question. An LLC is a limited liability corporation. So is it necessary? Yes. Why? Because when you reach out to a supplier, they will want to see that you're a legitimate business. They will want to see your tax ID. They will want to see a proof of being real, So that's what an LLC does, is it gives you the opportunity to be a real corporation. Your website is not the name of your business. Your website is technically what's called a DBA, doing business as. So your website is just where you're going to make money. The LLC is the business. The LLC owns the website, essentially. So it is necessary. Like I said, suppliers will want to see your tax ID, other information, and the LLC will allow you to write things off, which will save you so much money in taxes when you're profitable. So, to answer the question, limited liability corporation, and is it necessary? 100% yes. Why is high ticket more difficult for those outside of the US? It's not more difficult. It's just, being able to open up your own corporation, the legalities behind it. That's really it. Being in Canada is perfectly fine. We have a bunch of students from Canada. It's harder for people in third world countries and communist countries, dictatorships, like something like China or Russia. Like, you really couldn't do this there. You couldn't do this from India. You couldn't do this from the Philippines. But yeah, if you're in North America, if you're in Canada, US, United Kingdom, then you can do this for sure.
Denise, yay, Mike, my birthday's tomorrow too. Denise, as if I didn't love you enough. The fact that we have the same birthday, I love it. So happy birthday to you too.
Denise, I do want to say on live stream, I'm sorry that we didn't answer your message this weekend. Let's call tomorrow or one of the days soon. Me and Mike had a very long weekend, and then by the time we were ready to get back to work, you were already pushed down to the bottom of our Skype messages. So I see here now that you messaged us and we didn't answer, and I genuinely would like to say I'm sorry. And any of our students watching this, if we don't answer you in a timely manner, then feel free to just keep messaging us and we will get to you as soon as we see it.
Badge and Ting. Hey, Mike, I found you on Twitter, but I was wondering if you have an IG. Also, are there some items that you charge your buyers tax due to having Nexus in certain states? So Badge and Ting, thank you for the Twitter follow. I do appreciate that. I do not have a business IG yet. Jared does. You can follow him, Ecom Jared. I'll definitely be making one in the coming weeks, and I'll definitely be tweeting about it, so you can swing me a follow there. I do appreciate the support. You asked about tax. in certain states? So that's a good question, because we say free shipping, no sales tax. And when customers call, they're like, oh, like you guys cover the sales tax for us. And the truth is that you don't have to pay taxes in any state other than the one your LLC is registered in. So we do have to pay taxes. We're in New York, so we do pay taxes on every New York sale. Usually we'll just cover that for the customer because, there's a 150 shot.
Guys, I don't know if you're reading the chat, but look at this. Denise, one of our students, literally just made her second sale. And she only started like literally under 2 months ago, if I'm not mistaken, Denise, if you want to write, if I'm telling the truth. And look at that. She's making sales, guys. We can't make this up. That, we literally have students making sales while watching us live stream. Again, like what I talked about, making money when you're not working. Technically, I guess we're not a TV show, but you can argue Denise was making money while watching her favorite TV show.
Denise, as you can tell, that put a huge smile on my face. If there's anything more that I love than making my own sales, it's watching other people that I've helped make sales. Denise, like I mentioned her before, I didn't drop her name, but I said this one of our students was working her tail off and made her sale. I think we were running ads for now 2 or 3 weeks now, Denise, but damn, that's so awesome. And I'm so happy for you. We're still going to hop on a call tomorrow. Don't worry, this sale doesn't change anything.
Okay, and yep, so let me just acknowledge what John said before we announce the winner of the giveaway. John said, I sold fake AirPods. Haha, I'm going to start high ticket. Fuck low ticket. AliExpress. Yep. Don't stop with the low ticket stuff, John. You're wasting your time. You're scamming people. You're not doing the right thing. And I hope you didn't sell AirPods for $1,300 or fake AirPods. Yeah, that would I would be pretty angry if I was that customer as well. And I see that you can tell I'm a Virgo. I guess so. I can't argue that logic. Wow, June 5th. So for anyone still watching this, people want to know how long it takes to make, to get results. I mean, there you have it. June 5th is when she started, and she's already making sales.
Yeah, I want to dedicate this live stream to Denise. Denise, I love you. Happy birthday. And wow, I'm so happy for you right now. I can't even put it in words.
All right, guys. So before we wrap this up, I will announce the winner of the giveaway. So I'm going to pull up the subscriber list. So I have the entire list open now. And I'm going to close my eyes and just randomly pick somebody. I'm going to keep scrolling until now. Okay, so the winner of this giveaway is the subscriber Jenny Mill 33. So that's spelled JENNY MIL 33. If you're watching this or happen to stumble upon it, DM me with proof that this is in fact your YouTube name, and I will Venmo you the money, $100 as promised. If you do not come clean, then we will add that on to the next giveaway, and we'll go from there. So if you won this, if you're watching this, Jenny, again, Jenny Mill, JENNY MIL 33. If you're watching this, just message me. I'll send you your $100. If you're not watching this and you never see it, then you're lost. And yeah,
$200 next time.
Yeah, it'll be $200 on the next video.
I love how you say if you don't come clean, as if she did something wrong. Like she didn't just win $100. Like if you don't clean, like done. But regardless, guys, for the people who are still watching us, thank you for watching. Whether you tuned in from the beginning and watched us for this whole hour and however long, even if you're not in the community yet, or you never plan on being, just watching us and asking questions, it means a lot. And it's what motivates us to keep doing these live streams and keep dropping as much free value and free game that we possibly can. So yeah, thank you for joining. I hope you guys liked what you saw. If there's
before we wrap it up, Mike, obviously, let them know, where to get the mentorship, all that good stuff.
Of course. So Jared touched upon it before. If you just want to get started, you're just dipping your toes in, head over to havemorethanmoney.com. Download your free ebook written by yours truly, Jared Oaks. Really, really well-written ebook. It has so much knowledge, even beyond high-ticket dropshipping, just about entrepreneurship in general. Check out the ebook. If you're ready to pull the trigger on the mentorship, it's all there. Havemorethanmoney.com.
Link is in the description.
link, everything you guys need is in the description.